Lower belly fat tends to be a problem for almost everyone. Whether you're the average gym goer or you're a professional bodybuilder, it's simply tough to burn off that last bit of stubborn fat around your lower midsection, and you probably already know that. You also know that to fix this, you need to be in a calorie deficit. You need to avoid processed, refined, and high sugar foods, and you need to consistently exercise to develop your lower abs under that fat. But there are many key concepts that you don't realize about lower belly fat that can set unrealistic expectations and prevent you from having that flat midsection that you're after. So today I want to go over the top 7 things that nobody's telling you about lower belly fat. And first we have to start with the unrealistic expectation of aiming to see 0 rolls and 0 folds when sitting down. Most people believe that when you have a perfect six-pack, it'll look chiseled and flawless regardless of what position you're in, how much food you ate, or how relaxed you're keeping your abs. After modeling, bodybuilding, and maintaining a low body fat for over 15 years, I can tell you that this is absolutely untrue. Human anatomy is designed to be flexible and functional, not perpetually rigid. The skin and the underlying tissues need to be able to stretch and fold to allow for movement and changes in your body position. When you sit down, your abdominal muscles relax and your skin naturally forms creases. This is completely normal and a healthy response. Even professional bodybuilders and fitness models who have extremely impressive six-packs on stage or in photo shoots do not maintain that look at all times. In fact, sometimes when you get leaner and you have less fat mass occupying the skin around your lower stomach, you can develop more folds and creases around that area. This will be amplified even more if you've lost a lot of body fat because you'll be more likely to have some excess skin around your lower abs. So keep in mind that even fitness models also don't maintain a perfect set of abs. When they eat a big meal, their stomach bulges out. When they sit down, almost all of them have some folds, creases, and rolls, and when they relax their abs don't look as great as you see in the pictures. Bodybuilders and models purposely take specific poses, they use lighting to their advantage, and sometimes even use dehydration techniques to achieve that perfect appearance. In everyday life, their abs are subject to the same natural folds and fluctuations as anyone else's. Next, you probably don't realize that one key reason why lower belly fat is so tough to eliminate is due to the presence of something known as alpha and beta receptors in fat cells. These receptors play a crucial role in how fat is stored and mobilized around different parts of the body. Alpha and beta receptors are types of proteins found on the surface of fat cells. They respond to catecholamines, which are hormones like adrenaline and noradrenaline. These hormones signal the body to either store or release fat. Specifically, beta receptors stimulate fat breakdown. So when catecholamines bind to beta receptors, they trigger a series of reactions that result in the release of fatty acids from fat cells into the bloodstream, where they can then be used for energy. Beta receptors are more prevalent in areas of the body where fat is more easily mobilized, so areas like your arms, legs, and face have more of these. Meanwhile, alpha receptors do the opposite. They inhibit fat breakdown. So when alpha receptors are binded to, they signal the fat cell to hold onto its fat stores, making areas with higher concentrations of alpha receptors more resistant to fat loss. Unfortunately, the fat cells in the lower belly tend to have a higher ratio of alpha receptors than beta receptors. This means that even when the body is in a state of fat mobilization, such as when you're in a calorie deficit, the alpha receptors in the lower belly still can interfere with the breakdown of fat, making it harder to lose. Unfortunately, this is out of your control. So now let's move on to one of the #1 things within your control that is likely preventing you from losing that last bit of stubborn lower belly fat. And that's not factoring in the influence of metabolic adaptation. This is also known as adaptive thermogenesis. It's a process where your body adjusts its energy expenditure in response to changes to your diet and activity levels. Even if you're absolutely perfect with following your diet plan, when you consume fewer calories than your body needs, your metabolism will slow down as a protective mechanism to conserve energy and prevent what your body perceives as starvation. This slowdown can make it harder to continue losing fat as you diet over time. The issue with lower belly fat is that it's one of the last spots for your body to choose to burn fat from, so metabolic adaptation will definitely be playing an influence. That's why I can almost guarantee you that the calorie deficit that you start burning fat with is not going to be the same calorie deficit that's required to burn off that last bit of stubborn lower belly fat. Your body will also in general require less energy to maintain a smaller and smaller body mass as you diet over time and lose weight. So you have to continuously readjust your calorie and macronutrient requirements as you diet. As you hit plateaus where you stop losing fat for 2 weeks or longer, you should try to drop your calories by anywhere from 200 to 300 calories per day. Then reevaluate your progress again 1 to 2 weeks later. As you hit plateaus, you can also try adding low intensity activities like walking to burn some additional calories and continue burning fat. Another thing that makes lower belly fat so much harder to lose is that the lower belly area receives less blood flow and has larger fat cells than many other areas throughout your body. Blood flow is important for fat loss because it ensures that fat mobilizing hormones can effectively reach and stimulate fat cells to release stored fat and then transport that stored fat to areas like the liver so it can be processed for energy. Since the lower belly has relatively lower blood flow, it means that fewer catecholamines can reach these fat cells, reducing the effectiveness of fat mobilization. Compounding this problem even further is the size of those lower belly fat cells. Fat cells in different parts of the body can vary in size and type, with some areas having smaller, more easily mobilized fat cells. Unfortunately, the lower belly usually has a higher proportion of large, dense fat cells, which are more resistant to breakdown. Next, let's talk about the genetic influence on two things: fat storage patterns and lower abdominal muscle anatomy. Fat storage patterns refers to how and where your body tends to store fat, and they're significantly influenced by genetics. These patterns determine the distribution of fat across different areas of your body, such as your midsection, thighs, hips, arms, and face. Your genetics can cause you to store more body fat in your abdominal region, which of course includes lower belly fat. While women are at risk of developing more body fat around their hips and lower body, men struggle with their center of mass, which includes their love handles and lower belly fat, creating an apple-shaped fat distribution pattern. This is something that varies between individuals, and unfortunately, it's outside of your control. Right alongside these genetic fat distribution patterns is your muscular anatomy. Some people, even after burning away a ton of lower belly fat, do not have perfect V-cut abs. This is because the shape and insertion points of your obliques and rectus abdominis muscles is influenced by genetics. This is why two people maintaining the same body fat percentage can have completely different looking sets of abs. So make sure that you're comparing your results weekly, monthly, and yearly to yourself rather than to others. Let's move on to supplements, because many of you may not be aware of the many false claims that supplement companies make when trying to sell their fat burners. You'll see supplements that are literally called stored fat belly burner or belly fat burner for men. Others will make claims like destroy stubborn belly fat, lose stomach fat, and stomach fat burner. These fat burners will usually fall into certain categories. Thermogenics, for example, act as stimulants to increase your metabolic rate, helping you burn more calories throughout the day. Then we have fat blockers, which claim to work by blocking the absorption of fat from the food you eat. There are also appetite suppressants that help reduce hunger, leading to a lower caloric intake. And finally, you have carb blockers that attempt to prevent the digestion and absorption of carbohydrates. The truth is that none of these will target your belly fat. First of all, like I just explained, your genetic fat storage and fat burning patterns are outside of your control. Beyond that, spot reduction is a myth because fat loss does not occur in specific targeted areas. Instead, it happens uniformly across your body based on your overall caloric deficit and the genetic variables that I mentioned earlier. Even though a fat burner may help you speed up your metabolism or reduce your appetite, and even though that can lead to fat loss, there's no supplement that'll make you lose fat specifically from your stubborn belly fat. Finally, last but not least, something that most people don't realize is that your posture, even when standing upright, can affect the appearance of your lower belly fat. For example, if you have shoulder protraction, or in other words, if you slouch a lot when standing, it can compress your midsection, making your lower belly appear more pronounced than it actually is. Another postural deviation that can make your lower belly fat look worse than it actually is an anterior pelvic tilt. This is when your pelvis is tilted forward, usually due to sitting a lot and developing weak glutes along with tight hip flexors. Not only can it lead to repetitive lower back injuries, but it'll also cause your lower belly to stick out. By strengthening your hips and your upper back, and by sitting less and practicing better posture, you'll stretch your midsection out, making it appear flatter. Obviously, this does nothing in terms of fat burning, but most people don't realize that bad posture can make your belly fat look significantly worse. So that about wraps it up. I really hope this video has shown you some things that you never knew about lower belly fat. If it has helped you out, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And also, if you're looking to shortcut all the trial and error that typically comes with finding the right diet plan and the right workout plan, and instead you'd like a done-for-you plan that'll help you drop a bunch of body fat, try my free 6-week shred. We'll personalize a meal plan for you based on your preferences, and you'll also get a full 42-day workout plan and a coach to guide you through the entire process. To find out more about this free body transformation program, just click the link in the description below, or you can head straight on over to my website at gravitytransformation.com. I'll see you guys soon.